Jackie Guthrie's an epic agent in Newport Beach, California.
Yeah.
She's with Remax. She's joining the podcast today. Jackie, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Excited to have you. Yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate you taking the time to join me for the podcast. Share for listeners a little bit about your background. Where are you from originally, and what drew you to real estate as a career?
So, I have had my license now a little over 15 years. And when I first got my license, I was actually teaching in Pomona, California. I was a PE teacher, and the broker, who was my actual first broker at the time, he was helping us purchase a home and was like, I think you might be kind of good at this. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I thought he was just being, whatever, conversational. And then he's like, if you ever want a spot at the brokerage, he's like, let me know. I'll help you get your license. So I got it. I started just doing, as a teacher, I'm done at 3 and I have summers off. So I was doing it kind of part time the first year or so. And I was having a lot of success and nothing crazy, but, a couple deals here and there, family and friends. And then when I had my son about 13 years ago, I was like, I think I'm going to take my husband, side note, is a police officer. So he has very steady job, very steady income, benefits. So I was like, I think I'm going to stay home and have like a maternity leave. And then my first year as a full-time agent went really well. So I never went back to teaching and did real estate full-time after that. So it's been great. And I think really committing and knowing that I had a backup with my husband, like, okay, the pressure's off and just go have fun and sell real estate was, a great way to do it. So
Yeah, I agree. I think that having that launching pad and a supportive partner and spouse who
yeah,
you can. I get it. There's it's like starting your own business. So
right.
there's a lot of risk involved and there's a lot of uncertainty. So yeah, that makes sense. But still, it took a lot of guts to jump out there and make it your full time career.
Yeah, there was a certain point right before I left where I was. I mean, Pomona's a rough area if you're not familiar in California. So when I was teaching, you're doing all these things, all these teacher meetings, you're getting yelled at by kids, and I started making almost as much in teaching that I was doing real estate part time, and I'm like, this could be something here. This could actually, I think I could do this and not deal with all the other things that come with
Yeah.
teaching and the parents and school and all that. So yeah, I'm super happy and blessed that I was able to do that. And I think for a lot of people, you really just got to go for it and send it and give it your 110% and see if you can make it stick.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to look back, years from now and wonder what
Totally.
if. I had Jesse Garcia, who's in Northern California, was on the podcast recently, and he had a similar story. He was actually he was a police officer who got into real estate just out of curiosity. He was interested in the real estate market and investing and that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
after, gosh, I think it was his first, actually, I think it was his first commission. I can't remember the story 100%. I have to go back and listen to the episode, but I think it was his first commission. He compared, his
Risking
monthly
your life
pay
or
to, right, right. So yeah, he made a similar choice, right? He said, gosh, there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of potential here. And I really enjoy the work. So,
well, and
and
police officers.
he hasn't looked back.
Yeah, there's been a few police officer realtors that I've done deals with over the years, and I think they either get to a point where it's not worth it like that, or they retire and they're 50 years old or 55, and they're like, I have a whole life ahead of me. I'm gonna just same thing. They're curious
Yeah.
about real estate investing, and then they find this little niche of like military, police, fire kind of things, and that family really
Mhm.
they're able to get a bunch of deals just word of mouth. And it's, some people can really take off doing, riches are in the niches.
That's right. Oh, absolutely. I say it all the time that I love a good niche
Right.
and yeah, having a network, sort of an established network like that can really
Totally.
help springboard your career as well.
Yeah. What a good format for
So,
them.
yeah, what would you say are the keys to your success in the luxury market? A lot of real estate brokers, a lot of real estate agents aspire to build their business in the luxury niche,
Yeah.
but there's a lot to that serving a luxury buyer or seller that I think may be surprising to a lot of agents who don't have that experience. What would you say are the keys to succeeding when working with luxury buyers? or sellers?
Honestly, I would say the biggest thing, and not that a ton of people ask me this, but when people ask, I think treating these luxury clients or high-end buyers and sellers like normal people and not, oh my God, I can't talk to them about this or I can't talk, you just have to treat them like any other buyer, any other seller, doesn't matter the price point. They want to be treated the same way. The only difference is, I think, is that they're a little more educated. It's probably not their first home. It's probably an investment, third home. They're very smart. They know numbers. They're going to check, escrow fees and title fees, and they're going to be involved. And I think just knowing you have to be obviously educated, but the biggest thing is treating them like every other client and not being afraid to talk to them or putting them on a pedestal. I think treating them like every other buyer, seller. Obviously, you're going to be your professional self and do all of the normal steps and things that you take, but treating them normal, I think, is a big deal. That's probably the biggest.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Way. Yeah.
Yeah. Bring your professional self just as you would with any other buyer or seller, and don't be afraid to educate the client if you need to, right?
Yeah, and then even just like, the little casual, making jokes and having fun. And I just think that sometimes people are like, oh my God, I can't, it's very robotic and they don't like that. They want to be treated like, everybody else. And so I have clients that multimillionaires that you just treat like everybody else. And I think that is actually very appealing to them and they want to work with you when you that way. So that's probably the biggest thing. I know it sounds simple, but
Well, yeah, but I think it would be an easy thing to overthink and
totally.
to get wrong. I would say I totally agree that buyers and sellers in the luxury category this is most likely not their first or second or third transaction.
Mm-hmm.
They've probably had multiple transactions. They could, and very often currently own multiple properties.
Totally.
And they're going to be savvier,
Right.
than your first time home buyer or your younger individuals or couples who might not have had this, that much experience
Yeah.
buying and selling homes. And then also, yeah, there's going to be probably graduate degrees involved, and a lot of business savvy.
A lot of them have
And they're going to,
attorneys and lawyers that they run by all
sure,
the, paperwork. So just making sure you have all of your things. I highly recommend a transaction coordinator. I held off for a really long time because I'm a control freak, but things like that, everything's documented. She takes care of everything. We have a full file. Little things like that, just to make sure you're on top of your game, especially when dealing with the luxury higher end clients, is very important.
yeah, and those numbers, they're, the contracts will be scrutinized.
Oh, for sure.
Not so much with a less experienced buyer or seller where we can kind of fly through the paperwork.
Well, they're not even
You
looking. They're
really,
just clicking DocuSign all the way down.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Which, by the way, is me.
Totally same.
But yeah, the luxury buyer seller are generally going to be familiar with contracts. Like you said, will often have an attorney involved, and
Right.
so you need to know boring things like your contracts. You need to
Right.
know and have those answers, have
And I
answers
still
for those
don't.
questions
15
at the
years in,
ready.
I still have questions I don't know. So
Sure.
there's always things that pop up, and you think you've seen it all, and then you've seen something else, and you're like, okay, here, here we go. So there
When
will
it comes to
always.
marketing your business, what are the primary channels that you lean on, and what is your overall strategy? Do you lean mostly into social media, or are there other channels that you also utilize?
So I do have a marketing company that I use, and and it's a big investment. It's a lot of money. You know, let me see, I pay twice a year, but I pay in like a lump sum or whatever. But we shoot once a month for 2 hours and then they roll out the content. And it's actually great. They put it on all channels. So Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and then LinkedIn, which I'm not really big on, but some people have a lot of success on LinkedIn. I haven't really seen that. I would say the main two are probably Instagram and TikTok, surprisingly, for me. And they put together, they clip out things if I have ideas that I want to do. And I would say the biggest thing when you're doing if you can afford a media company, I highly recommend it because it's really about your brand. And if you look back on my page, you can clearly see when I wasn't using Guthrie. I mean, I was doing okay, but it's just so clean. It presents what I want to present. And now it's been a few years, so it's great. And it just, I think it's a representation of you. And a lot of people are, they'll go on Instagram and, best realtor in Orange County. And then, there's only a handful of people who have really targeted certain areas in social media so far. But I think the biggest thing is being yourself. And if you don't want to do a stupid dance, then don't do a dance. If you like giving tips, do the tips. But, it's whatever you're comfortable with because that's going to come through, and being consistent. So that's a big thing with the media company is they take that, another kind of like a transaction coordinator, it takes that off my plate. They post 4 days a week for me. So then I'll do, I do this Fired Up Friday on Fridays with a little tip. And then weekends are kind of empty. So I'll do like family stuff. So keeping those little personal touches, but the chunk of the week is blocked out and they do that every day. So I think just being consistent and being yourself on the social media platforms will help. People want to work with a human. They don't want to work with some robot dancer on Instagram. So I think those are big takeaways. That's what I get a lot, that people don't know what to do. And I'm like, be yourself. If you don't want to do a silly video or poke fun, do this or. So I think being yourself is really important.
Jackie, this has been so much fun. I'm so glad that we connected.
Oh
I
my God,
really
yes.
appreciate you taking time to join the podcast. Before I let you go, how can listeners learn more about you and connect with you? What are the best ways?
Social media. I'm at Dream Homes by Jackie on almost all of my platforms. It's easy, so that's another social media tip. Keeping it consistent across the board. So at Dream Homes by Jackie is the same for Instagram, TikTok, my YouTube. It's Dream Homes by Jackie, kind of spelled out, but it's all the same. Yeah, let's connect and follow me. I'll follow you back. I love connecting with people all over the world and chatting about different markets and things they're seeing. And like you're different things, different markets. Always interesting.
Well, I really appreciate it. I'm going to have those links, of course, in the description for this episode, and I'll tag you on Instagram, of course, as well
Yeah.
when I release it.
Collaborate.
So collaborate. I'll send you a collab request.
There we go.
Jackie, thanks again so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.